This is the view from halfway down, an episode-by-episode analysis of the Netflix original series Bojack Horseman.
And that was Sebastian. They're the Bojack Horseman expert.
And that's Alexandra. She's the expert on being pretentious.
We try to avoid character and plot spoilers on this show, but minor things are going to slip by. And of course, this will contain major spoilers up to the current episode. But what episode are we kind of reviewing today, Sebastian?
Today, we are reviewing Season 1, Episode 2, Bojack Hates the Troops.
It's an evocative title, and I'm glad that we don't avoid getting into really controversial stuff immediately on the show. I
mean, right off the bat, Bojack is based.
Bojack is based. Well, okay, here's the thing,
based.
And we'll get to it. He is based, but he's also like... It's like based in like a, capital L liberal way,
Yeah,
it's like...
That's true.
Could add a little bit more revolution stuff in there. And he is
we need
also...
to be a little bit more on the left. He's not quite far left
He's
enough.
as far left. He's as radical as you can get while owning a penthouse, a private, house. Is it a house or an apartment? It feels like an apartment.
It's a penthouse.
Right, but like there's no... I'm pretty sure it's just him, right? He doesn't have neighbors.
Yeah, no, he does have neighbors, actually.
What? Wow.
They're like underneath him, like down the
Spoilers.
Hill. They actually, there is...
Well, if they're down the hill, then that's...
We do find out who his neighbor is.
Okay.
And they're... I can't say who they are.
Yeah.
It'll be a mystery. It'll be a surprise.
I can't wait. I do have, some ongoing questions that I would like to pose at the end of this episode about the world building that's going on here. So I'm excited to talk about that. But yeah, this is what I remember the first episode being. I don't remember the first episode. I remember this as like the first one I watched, which is probably not true, but that's what I remembered.
Yeah, I remember that. I also had weird memories of this one. Even though I've seen it lots, I did not remember it being as funny as it was. I thought that it was, I guess in my head, honestly, I kind of wanted to even like skip it. I'm so glad
that would have been weird.
I wasn't going to skip it. I just like wasn't really looking forward to this one specifically, but I ended up seeing a lot more than I expected. So I am happy about it. Oh, and so I told you, Alex, on the phone that I bought something at the store earlier, but that it was a secret.
Oh my god.
So for today's episode, it's not anything crazy. It's stupid.
You're so
for today's episode, we're doing an ASMR. I'm just kidding. I've got these blueberry muffins. So I'm going to be
really
eating
getting
muffins.
into character.
Yeah.
You're drinking a beer before the show.
Yes.
Eating your muffins on the show.
Listen, I heard you call me out about that.
What are you talking
Do the
about?
Right Thing.
I've never called you out before.
I heard you call me out about that on Do the Right Thing, and I am not happy about that.
What did I call you out about?
Don't interrupt the ASMR.
Man, I really hope that's not just like peaking the entire audio.
We'll see.
Sebastian has opened the muffins.
Yes, I wanted to wait until we got while we were being recorded to tell you about the muffins.
You did mention it sometime before, but I'm so glad to be surprised by it again.
The idea.
When you do eat it, can you give it a good humph noise when you take that first bite?
I'm not eating it yet, but I will. I will in a second.
Okay, will you surprise us? You should do it when I start talking at some point. That's
just every time you start talking, I'll just really loudly eat my muffin.
And so every time that you start talking, it's with a mouthful of muffin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This episode's going to be horrible, by the way.
I mean, every episode should be. I mean, otherwise, is it a good show? I don't know. But I will say, so before we actually get into the analysis stuff, which we will momentarily, I'm really glad with the response that we got from our first episode. It seems that like a lot of people liked it, and we had a lot of comments and stuff on it, and I was really happy to see that discussion.
Yeah, we're going to address a lot of the stuff people were bringing to our attention at the end of our analysis, along with, discussing the world building and everything. And that should be interesting because, we discovered a lot of interesting things, some stuff that I was really surprised about. Also, I wanted to ask you, Alex, again, I was in the middle of talking. You interrupted me.
I'm not sorry. Go on.
I wanted to ask you, I wanted to tell you about the muffins while we were recording because I don't know if you ever had where you were a kid and you wanted like a friend to sleep over, but you asked in front of your parents so that they would like feel guilty enough to say yes. Can I comp the muffins?
No, do not. Oh my god,
they were $3.
I don't think. I mean, you have to keep your receipt. Number one. I don't want to have this conversation with our with the treasurer, the doof treasurer, with the holder of the purse, to ask
kidding.
if we can charge the muffins as a business expense.
They were only $3.
I mean, I'm normally all in favor, but I don't want to have that conversation. But
I don't either.
I mean, you can if you want. I'll give you their email.
It would be a little more embarrassing on my end.
It would be.
Man, yeah. I need these $3.
Yeah. I would say, Sebastian, I would argue in favor of you comping the muffins as a business expense if and only if you bought a 12-pack and ate all of them just like Bojack did.
See, I actually did consider doing that, but here's the thing.
That's vomit-worthy. That's horrible.
I hate muffins, actually.
Wow.
I think that they're like the whole wheat version of cupcakes, and I don't like them. The only muffins I can tolerate are blueberry muffins, which is why I got blueberry muffins.
I used to really like muffins, and then I had one of those like rough times when your family's moving and everyone hates each other. And all I remember is eating a lot of blueberry muffins during that time and like living in hotels for weeks. So that, because the hotels at the breakfast areas, you know, they have muffins.
Right. Oh my gosh, yeah.
Yes. And so
that makes a lot
I don't
of
like them as much anymore. They do taste good though. So
sorry.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why I like muffins, because I really like hotels.
It could be.
I love hotels. It could be. They're so fun.
Yeah. It was when I first moved to Texas, actually. And the other memory I have...
Did you get those waffles?
Yes, the Texas waffles, of course. Yeah, of course. Yeah, in the first couple of weeks of school, we were still... We hadn't found a place yet or something. And I remember, because I was very sleepy, that a lot of the times I would still be in my pajamas in the car ride to school, and that car ride was like hours. Like,
goodness.
And eating the muffins in pajamas in the car, half asleep, sleeping a little bit. So I probably was not hours. It felt like hours. But okay, actually, last thing before we get into the actual show, I do want to mention that outside that hotel, literally like in the same parking lot, was a Chuck E. Cheese. So it's impossible to say whether that was a good time or a bad time in my life, because I won myself a lot of tickets.
Hey, you said, fuck it, we ball.
Actually, and that Chuck E. Cheese has memories attached to it also. Not many, just one, and how it was a non-Chuck E. Cheese related sexual awakening. But that's a whole different conversation topic, and we can save that for another time. I don't think we've ever
talked about that.
I think I've mentioned it, but I didn't mention that it wasn't a Chuck E. Cheese.
Oh my goodness!
Don't worry, it was not anything. It wasn't like a you should be worried about me thing. I do understand why.
No, I didn't take it that way.
Yeah, no, nothing happened to me. I discovered something that wasn't great. I'm gonna move on. I feel like I'm just digging myself a hole.
This is whenever you decided to start your fursona design, actually.
Yeah.
This is your origin story.
My fursona. Yep. The mascots, totally. That was exactly. Yeah. God, that's horrible. I hate that idea, actually. Two of my close friends worked at a Chuck E. Cheese, and they were the mascot, actually.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
I went to the last time I went to a Chuck E. Cheese was an embarrassingly short amount of time ago. It was like less than 2 years ago.
They kicked you out?
And no, I went with Cody. And it was whenever we first got to Texas. It was like the first place that I went. I don't know.
Wow, memories.
First of all, it wasn't. I will not rant about this because it'll take forever. But it didn't look like Chuck E. Cheese at all. Like, not even in like a picky way. But it didn't in the slightest bit. Like, if I had woken up there, I would have no clue where I was.
What?
It was really weird. They've completely changed. Like, it's bright in there now. It's so weird.
Oh, wait. Sorry, this was not part of my I don't know, my picture of a Chuck E. Cheese, but I guess you're right that they were all like dimly lit and like
they were dark because they're arcades. That's how they're supposed to be.
I guess so. I'm just picturing like just creepy, like just
it was
broken
creepy.
down.
It felt like a liminal space. It was really weird. The Chuck E. Cheese guy came out to dance, and there were no kids there, but he had to still dance. So he just he was just dancing very slowly and low, energetically, and like looking downwards the whole time. I was like, I don't want to be here anymore.
Why would
by here I don't mean Chuck E. Cheese, I mean the planet.
Why would they do that?
I don't know.
The poor Chuck.
The poor Chuck.
God. Yeah. At the very least, you said multiple employees. They have to cheer each other on. Or you keep a couple of children employed at the establishment so that you can throw them in and sort of just
That's
like
smart.
Yeah, sort of a paid actor kind of thing, false flag.
I
dancing
think there was
operation.
Like maybe there were like 2 kids in like the whole building because we were there like at night, and he was supposed to come out every half hour and do this dance.
Wow, that's a lot. It's a lot of dancing.
It's a lot of dancing for one mouse.
one poor mouse. Okay,
is he a man or a mouse? We don't know.
That's bad and dumb. And let's do the show.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
So the episode, how does it start, Sebastian? Or do you want me to summarize?
You can start it off.
Okay,
go for it.
The episode starts off with Bojack is at a bar. He gets recognized by this blonde girl, and he's pretty happy about it. But then she immediately says that he looks fat and invites her friends to come and take pictures of him because it's hilarious that he is here and alone and sad. So that is the first action that happens.
Yes. And I think while this is happening, he's on the phone with Princess Carolyn, and something that I think is extremely important to bring up is the fact that
like, now that we get into the serious part of the show.
Yes, this is a really big character development point.
It's cool that they put it right at the beginning.
Yeah. In our last episode, we came to the very important question of, has Bojack ever bottomed? And today we had that question answered. He answers the phone, and
he sees it as Princess Carolyn.
Sees it as Princess Carolyn, and he doesn't let her say anything. He just answers it, and he says very aggressively, "Don't put things in my butt if you want them back." And then her receptionist is like, "Hold for Princess Carolyn."
He does. He is very embarrassed by it. But I did not expect to have that mystery, put down and solved so quickly. Now, here's the question. There's still more questions that are related to that initial hypothesis of whether or not Bojack has bottomed before, because now we do know that he does butt stuff, obviously,
and we know that Carolyn tops.
Okay, well, I don't know though. I mean,
of course she tops.
Okay,
look at her.
Here's the thing. I agree. Let me play devil's advocate, though. Okay? Just to point out, because it's, I don't know, I can very easily picture the dynamic of Princess Carolyn just giving it to Bojack and just destroying him, and him just, taking that because he hates himself. But all we do know is that there was something inserted into him that she may want back. That is all. We don't know. I mean, obviously that does not mean strap. That's not a strap.
What do you think it is?
Well, some kind of plug is obviously an option, which was apparently swallowed up by Bojack.
I don't like the use of the word swallowed in that.
I'm wondering, what could it have been that could have been lost?
Do you think that, like, since they already are animals, because I know a lot of, like, those have tails on them. Do you think that they will, like, wear different animals' tails to, like, dress up? And would that be racist in this society?
You're right. Is that, like, a kind of, like, species fetishism?
Like blackface, but for the animal species.
Having a
different tail that's not yours.
An anal plug tail plug anal.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Questions worth answering.
I think we should move on because it's gonna take a while to get through.
You're right. This is an ongoing mystery. We do have some heavy clues, of course. But the mystery continues.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I also want to bring up the fact that throughout this whole episode, he's on the phone with Carolyn a lot, and every time she calls, she ends up putting him on hold, and they sing that Jellicle song from Cats. Every time it happens, I lose my shit, and I get flashbacks to whenever we got really high and watched Cats with your brother.
Oh, God, horror stories.
War flashbacks, flashbacks. That was so fun, though.
It wasn't, though?
I had a really nice time, but also I was high, so that explains it a little bit.
It was so long. It's such a long movie.
It was
oh
very
my God.
long. Well, do you remember whenever one of the actors literally read like his like cue of like what he, I don't know what the term is for like whenever you read what you're like supposed to physically do, and he read it as a line.
Yeah, no, that was sad.
So
it was really
funny.
sad.
Yeah, so I will let you guys know anytime that song is it comes on in the episode.
Oh, good. I think that would be really
randomly
funny.
Belting out
the Jellicle Cats.
Yes.
I don't even remember that being a song. I guess it probably was.
It's like the first song that they sing.
Okay. Well, it's just God, cats. Okay, we can move on. So on the way out, he talks to... Actually, what's the thing that Princess Carolyn says to him? I don't remember.
I think that she just puts him on hold.
But they talk for a second. And he complains that he wasn't... She didn't get him in Warhorse, even though there was 10 horses in that movie. He didn't have to be the Warhorse. He just...
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. I think that he's just trying to find work.
Okay. Well, on his way out, he passes by the girls who are joined by a chicken girl also, which... So he snaps at them, says that his night has been ruined and that he hopes that they feel at least a little bit crappy about it. And the blonde girl says that she has a right to be here. And then he yells, he like snaps. And it's honestly a little scary. Little man being scary with a big old yell. I mean, the chicken girl drops an egg at the...
I didn't see that.
Yeah, she drops an egg and it cracks.
That is intense.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I mean, well, it's not fertilized, I don't think.
She had a miscarriage.
No, that's not. She had a period on the show. Wait, actually, hold on. Wait, so why did it fall all the way out? Like, so she's clearly not wearing any underwear, otherwise it would have been caught, right? Well, okay, now that I'm thinking about it, okay, maybe, I can't remember, I guess she was probably wearing a skirt or something. I don't really remember. Maybe she wasn't. But if she was wearing a skirt, maybe it is totally an intentional thing to leave that opening open because, just like you can have... Right, because you can have a random flow, right? In the same sort of way, right? And that's a problem.
I hate this conversation.
And there's ways that you
really
get on to make sure the blood doesn't get everywhere. But she can't stop. It's a whole egg. It's like if you just had to randomly take a shit just like super randomly, so she has to be prepared.
I was really worried about the show sounding too pretentious, and now I'm so relieved that it just sounds like two 12-year-old boys talking on like Call of Duty. That's what this feels like.
If there was something in the way of the egg, it could have just cracked right there on its way out because of the pressures, right?
I don't want to... I'm not
Milk
gonna
would
put
go
this
everywhere.
In.
Egg shards in her pants. Like, I mean, I get it.
I'm not putting that in.
I'm editing, so
no,
I have the power.
No.
Yeah.
No, I'm not putting that in.
Anyway, so Bojack goes off, and he says, maybe because you're pretty, maybe because you're skinny, maybe because you're pretty, you're used to getting away with things, but I'm here to tell you your actions have an effect on others, and I hate you, and you are a horrible person, and you not understanding that you're a horrible person doesn't make you less of a horrible person.
Projection.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
Saying, I hate you was so... It sounded like a toddler.
Well, the way that he said it, also, I hate you and horrible person, actually, I don't know, the delivery of it's really good, because there is actually, clearly a lot of... There's, desperation when he says horrible person, and disappointment, too. It's, so much more than just a blonde girl being a bitch.
It starts off with him just kind of sounding like, he's just like annoyed. And then, I don't know, just instantly, like you said, the delivery was super good, and you can feel that, it's definitely projection.
Yeah, so this notion, I think the first time I watched it, I didn't quite realize that it was projection, actually. But, this is another, I think, thesis of the show, that someone being a horrible person and not understanding that they're a horrible person doesn't make you less of one. Maybe it's not actually a thesis of the show itself, but of Bojack anyway.
I did want to ask you actually how you felt about that in like the simplest way, because I feel like that's something that could be talked about for a while.
About the sentiment?
Just like, I mean, do you agree with that?
I don't believe in horrible people. So, I believe, I don't know. I'm also, just get this out of the way, I don't believe in free will, which affects a lot of things regarding blame and how responsible people are for the way that they are. And that's something that I still have to wrestle with, because sometimes it's not a helpful belief to have. But,
it makes sense.
It
does.
There's some people that a lot of people very, vigorously disagree, and that is totally okay. I did almost start arguing with my therapist about it before I was like, you know what, this is not going to go anywhere.
I think I feel like a big like question in that, I guess, is just the whole what defines if you're a good person. And I think that is brought up a lot in the show. Is it your actions? Is it your intentions? Is it your just internal mindset? And I feel like a lot of people, it's actions. And I think that honestly, it's not as black and white. I think that in a lot of cases, actions can definitely define who you are. But I also do tend to agree with you on the whole free will thing. So it gets complicated.
Interesting, because I don't know, probably gets wrestled with a lot. It's a religious question. There's been literal schisms in the church over that question of, if you're responsible for the person you turn out to be, and if you are a good person just innately, or good and valuable, or do you need good works and things. Anyway, so to move on, after that she responds, "You think I'm pretty?" And then they fuck.
Which I feel like I noticed he was being very she instantly started in the morning tweeting about all his sex stuff, and she was super annoying, and they were
relevant. I wanted real quick just to emphasize as we move forward that he does do weird sex stuff in bed. So
yes,
that's another clue. True. Yeah. Boj is a freak.
We did see in the first episode, didn't we, that he has sex while watching Horseman around.
that is freaky. That is.
But I think there's a certain nonchalantness to this scene that implies that this happens all the time.
Yeah. He says and
that he's repeating patterns.
Yeah, another in a long series.
Recognizes that they're mistakes.
Long series of bad decisions. So he has sex and is not happy with himself about it. That's but okay. So then we have the intro. That's the intro moment. The whole music and everything, so good. It's excellent. We wake up in the morning, and the girl is still there. And Diane has been waiting for him, and he says that it doesn't sound like him to tell her to be there at 9 a.m. And she says that she has an email. And
I have that email. I would like to read the whole thing, actually.
You're welcome to it, yeah.
It was very funny. So she proceeds to just read the email straight from her phone without... This whole thing is, breathless. She doesn't really stop to pause at all.
It's at a good pace.
I will... let me monologue it real quick. Diane, why don't you come over Tuesday morning at 9? Also, you should bring this email with you because I might not remember it because I just took a bunch of horse tranquilizers. Ha ha. Also, please don't put that in my book that I use horse tranquilizers. Ha ha. I just use a small dose to help me fall asleep at night, and then A much, much larger dose to get me through the day. Also, I'm drunk. Also, I'm alone. So alone. Please don't put that in my book. Book of dildo. Does it taste like magenta in here? Then I think you fell asleep on the keyboard because it just says letter B 27 times. That is the end. That concludes,
literature.
Concludes it. That was pretty good.
Yeah, it was.
So low.
And the whole time Bojack's just kind of horrified. But it is a fascinating email too. It does reveal so much. I do wonder if he is on horse tranquilizers all the time that we see him, actually, or if that was an exaggeration. It's pretty fucking funny, though.
Are horse tranquilizers like the Xanax equivalent for horses?
I think, isn't ketamine a horse tranquilizer?
Oh, maybe, yeah.
So more
don't know.
Heroin.
I didn't know that you knew so much about ketamine, Alex.
I do. I know plenty about ketamine. Ever since that one girl that I was with kept telling me about it.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Well,
you'll have to tell me about that.
I've definitely told you about her for sure.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Also, Mr. Peanut Butter is there the whole time. He's just in the kitchen.
Yeah. He definitely just invited himself. And Diane probably should have realized that was not cool, actually, and maybe should have enforced the boundary there and been like, hey, actually, don't come to the guy's house that clearly doesn't like you just because you're my boyfriend. I don't know. But okay, on the email thing, so something I just was noticing, and this comes up a couple more times during the episode, and really all the time, is just how desperate Bojack is for someone to hear him and to help him.
Yeah.
He's just, he is so alone, and he feels terrible about it. And he's also, deeply, ashamed of it to ask help, too. And you can clearly tell that he's, just feels terrible about saying all those things. But, yeah, just the desperation there is really clear.
Yeah, that's definitely true. He really, everything that he does kind of seems like a cry for help. Mm-hmm. But I think that he wants help that he doesn't have to do he doesn't have to actually be vulnerable for or anything. He wants something that isn't possible.
Yeah.
He just wants it to be fixed.
Yeah.
It's very sad though.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess after that
he goes out and gets the muffins, which I only realized.
Oh, wait, no, but you can't skip our introduction to Todd's new girlfriend.
You're welcome. Okay, sure. Yeah, introduced Todd's new girlfriend.
Yeah, she's beautiful, and they're in love. They've known each other almost 12 whole hours.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, Todd is a good boyfriend. He wants to give her a gift already after 12 hours.
Aw.
What a pal.
What a pal.
Yeah.
So cute.
Well, for those who don't remember the show, she works in a call center. She's doing all her date calls from there. And then we understand that she is hacking him and...
She's trying to hack into his bank account.
Yeah, he's like, what kind of gift should I get her? She said she would like a framed picture.
Framed picture of his mother's maiden name.
It's so good.
And he was like, I've never met a girl who's so interested in American routing numbers.
Yeah. And then at the end, well, I guess we can mention that later. The conclusion to the... Yeah.
No, we're not there yet. But back to the store.
Yeah, so he goes out to get muffins, and I only realized this time that he goes out to get muffins because everyone else in the apartment ate all his toaster strudels. That's the reason he goes out.
I saw that in your notes. I never put that together.
Yeah, it's really interesting because it's such an obvious thing, but in my head, I think I literally was like, okay, next day he gets back. Yeah,
me too.
But no, he just came back and ate all of them, or it was like the next day or something. Anyway, there he encounters someone and picks up a box of muffins, and they come by and they say that they have dibs on it. And he kind of, he does not respect the dibs. That's number one. And he's kind of in the wrong here. I mean, the guy is silly saying that, dibs is just a very silly concept, and no one
Especially considering the situation, he was like, "Oh yeah, I just like left them here whenever I went to the bathroom." He was like, "Okay, well you don't own these. They're not yours." And also, Bojack did not even want those muffins. He literally didn't want them.
And he's not happy that he did buy them. He literally does something self-destructive just to prove a point, kind of. And he's totally being a prick here. I was not on his side about this at all. Like, he's right, but like an asshole.
Yeah, I was wondering what you were. Honestly, I kind of was on his side, but. Okay, listen, I wouldn't have actually taken them. I would have been like, whatever, because it's like, I definitely think that he should have just been like, whatever, and not care. But of course he cared. Of course he's very prideful. But I was on his side, just because, like, the guy was being so annoying.
Yeah, he was. He had like a pocket protector with pens in it, like just a real fucking nerd. And talking about dibs, but like. And he's an adult.
He is a grown adult.
He should, the guy should have just been like, "Hey, I would like those muffins, please, if you don't mind." Yes. But I don't know. He's still an asshole about it, in my opinion.
This scene was the funniest part of it to me, actually, which I think raises a few questions, or I guess discussion points. Before they even got to Bojack, they opened and there's like 2 dogs and they're dressed up as like moms, kind of, just middle-aged women. And they're looking at like these, like, I don't know, like chocolate cookies or something. And they're just like,
I love the delivery.
Oh my gosh, I love chocolate. Like, it can literally kill me. I'm so bad. Like, I love it. Like, I think it's really funny whenever they like act, because they treat the animals like they're people most of the time, and then really randomly they'll have some weird stuff like that, and it's so funny, and they're very inconsistent with it too. Like, it's really, the logic is not, you can't really just figure it out, because they just kind of pick when to use it. Yeah,
so I do have questions. So this is the stuff I wanted to ask at the end of the podcast, so we might as well hear, because that actually did trigger my question. Do people have dogs as pets here? Don't tell me if you have future knowledge. But just going forward, I want to keep an eye on, are there people who own like actual dogs? Because I feel like I must have seen at some point someone walking a dog on this show, but I cannot remember if I ever did. And I mean, there's obviously, you can go further, especially if there's no dogs as pets, like actual dogs. Like, what are burgers made out of, you know?
They touch on that.
Great, actually. Cool. I can't wait.
It's a good episode. Okay. But yeah, they touch on that. It's pretty funny.
This Bojack takes down the industrial meat
kind of
complex. Great, cool.
Big meat.
Big meat. Shut up. Big beef.
Oh yeah.
Big sausage.
No, that is interesting. I feel like these things come up a lot, and I think that's actually something, like, if I were to get in contact with one of the writers, that is something that I would want to talk to them about.
Why? No, don't waste your... No.
Well, if I had just one question, that's not what I would pick. But, like, if I was able to have a whole conversation, right. That is something that I would be really curious about.
I feel like this is one of those things where it's just like, whatever's funnier is what's true.
Yeah, I think so.
But okay, what is the next thing?
Let's see. Oh, so I think he's back with Diane now.
He comes back to have that first conversation, and she says that she has to start talking about his childhood, and he said it was normal, just a normal childhood. And then we get a flashback where it's just clear that their parents just hate his parents just hate each other.
10-second flashback.
Yeah.
And they discuss abortion, the fact that he's cheating on her.
Yeah. And all of that's happening on his birthday.
On his birthday.
And for some reason, he's always in a little sailor outfit. Why is he always in a little sailor outfit?
He just always is. I feel like they address his childhood a lot, so I'm sure that we will figure that out.
Because his dad was making a ship in a bottle So, like, did he put him in the sailor outfit for his birthday? What?
You're gonna have to wait and find out, babe.
But he comes back from the flashback, I mean, and he says, yeah, just do a normal childhood and then get right into the famous part. And it's just like this sort of like disappointment in that as he's like, yeah, I don't want to know.
It's
I don't
like
want to
he's
talk about
not even the slightest bit even considering opening up even a little bit. Like there's such a large block there where he's not even close to opening up about that stuff.
Yeah.
I think that, this is where I belt out into the Jellicle song.
Oh, good. Yeah, I need you to sing the whole song, please.
No, I'm okay. I'm not going to actually do that.
So he is saved from having to pursue this conversation because on MSNBC, and it's a pun about, it's not the letter C, it's SEA, and its main guy is a whale, and it's funny. But on TV, Bojack Horseman, for not respecting dibs, is getting called out by Neil Beale, the Navy SEAL. Which is wonderful. It's good. It's a good joke. And Bojack calls in, and he tells them that he didn't even really have dibs, and the thing that I don't know, something I noticed is that they say, you should just give him back the muffins. And he's like, no, I already ate them. And they're like, it's been like an hour. 12 muffins. And
they were like, how many were in there, sir? 2 to 4? And he was like, no, sir. A lot more than 2 to 4. There were 12 muffins.
And then Bojack says that the reason he ate them is because he hates himself. And I don't know. So I want to go off on a tangent about that. I don't know if you have anything else to say about the scene in general.
A little bit, but you can go ahead.
Well, okay. So for me, I'm just focusing on like the fact that Bojack just talks so frankly about how he hates himself and all these things like all the time, and that he's a famous person. I'm just saying, like, I've never ever seen a celebrity on TV or anywhere that's not like, I don't know, a documentary or something, talk about how they hate themselves, not even joke about it. Whereas in our generation and amongst normal people, especially us, the Gen Z and the younger millennials, we do joke about this shit all the time with each other. Like, it is slightly more of an intimate thing. You're not going to do it with your boss, right? You're not going to say your boss, haha, I want to die, right? But I do that with my buddies all the time. So
Bojack is part of the Gen Z.
Yeah, Bojack is Gen Z. Well, but for real, I don't know. That's just interesting, that disconnect between, like, I don't even really see like people joking about that on like vlogs, right?
Yeah,
like when it's in an open space. Yeah,
I'm thinking about it too, and
even people that are our age and on vlogs, but
I mean, I've definitely seen it on a lot of vlogs, but never like actual celebrities, you know,
or like anyone with a decent following, to be honest,
and especially not being 50 years old.
Oh yeah, no way.
I don't know. I think that he probably says these things so much because it's like it reminds me. Okay, I hate to reference this movie because I'm not a huge fan of it, but it always reminds me of that scene in Pitch Perfect where Amy calls herself Fat Amy, and she's like, because I know you guys are all just thinking that about me, so I'm just going to say it because I want you to know that I know. And I'm like, I feel like it's just a defense mechanism. Like, oh, well, if like I just say it out loud before anyone else can, then like I got them. Like they can't get me.
Maybe then could we connect that to the thing at the beginning of the episode that he said originally, not knowing that you are a horrible person does not make you less of a horrible person. So here he is showing everyone that he knows that he's a horrible person. Maybe he thinks that makes him less of a horrible person to know, or maybe it doesn't. I'm not sure.
I definitely actually think so. I think that the fact that he, I don't know, has this attitude of like, yeah, I know I'm shitty, but like, you know, I'll stop being shitty. Like, I think that I deal with that myself a lot too. Like, I guess, I mean, I don't know.
Because to me, that's not a
know.
comfort myself. Like, I know my flaws, and it's like a painful awareness, you know? It does not... I don't use it to reassure myself of, like, oh, it's okay because at least I'm better than the people who don't know. Like,
yeah, because logically, knowing that you're being shitty, I feel like would make it worse, because at least the people that are doing it that don't know, it's just because they just don't know.
yeah.
But if you know and you're just continuing
Mm-hmm.
to be shitty, I think maybe the difference is if you know and you're like actually doing what you can to change, which clearly Bojack
is not doing. No.
So,
well, I guess, well, we shouldn't go all the way into it, but I don't know. I think he's just kind of given up, right? It's not necessarily that, like, he doesn't, like, that he wants to be a terrible person. I mean, okay, maybe he does a little bit,
I
but...
think that he just is a terrible person, to be completely honest.
Okay.
I feel like he does kind of try sometimes, but whenever, I mean, we see it come down to things, and I just feel like he is constantly a disappointment.
Okay. Well, we'll hold on to that. And keep that in mind as we go forward. Anything else you wanted to say about the MSNBC the first time it comes up?
Yeah. So I think that it was the whole thing where they showed the sneezing at the Christmas party picture was funny. They're like, they use that same picture for like a lot of the show. I think is just like what, like, online, like they just always use that horrible picture. It looks like one of those like dramatic SpongeBob paintings.
Yeah.
Like it's just so gross.
Well,
looking.
it's the... I mean, there's the same thing at Wait, sorry, I'm just remembering a SpongeBob episode where there is a picture of SpongeBob doing something embarrassing at a Christmas party. And it's like
sounds funny.
Oh, it's a great episode, actually.
We should post that on our Reddit. On our subreddit.
The SpongeBob episode?
The photo from it.
Oh, okay.
In like a comparative scene.
Okay.
Yeah, I also think it's funny that they're just shitting on MSNBC the whole time. Like, they make so many jokes about how that network is just horrible.
Yeah. There's like a whole like 15-second one when it's first mentioned, just Bojack being like, "Why would I ever?"
It's like I didn't fall on my remote, and then it automatically went to MSNBC. So no, I'm not watching MSNBC right now.
It's pretty harsh. Again, who at MSNBC pissed off the writers of Bojack Horseman?
Who did it? I don't know.
But okay. What is the next scene? Well, on his way out, I think just generally he like gets harassed by all the media attention about this for a bit. But he talks to Diane for a moment, and she talks about how she doesn't have privacy back at her place either, because they're filming that reality TV show, Peanut Butter and Jelly. But she talks about how when she was a kid, and now because she doesn't have privacy in her own home, she goes on the roof for privacy. And then Bojack says it's adorable, and it totally is. And I don't know, another moment of like flirting between them, I guess.
Don't you do that too?
Get on the... Yeah.
Are you calling yourself adorable?
Fuck you. You're supposed to say that it's adorable. Whatever. At some point, they start talking, and she asks about his parents again. She asks, what was your relationship with your father? And he says... he has a flashback where his father is making a model ship and says... and throws away a heart that Bojack made for him, and says that it clearly was not him trying his best. It was him not trying at all, and that the only way to do it is if you do it right, basically. And then the flashback ends, and he just says uneventful, which is not a response to... And
she was like, you just sat there for 5 minutes silently, and then said uneventful.
After her question was, what is your relationship with your father?
I think that's something all us... Can I get the goth girls in the house to say amen?
Oh my god.
I just want to clarify, I actually do not relate to that, and I like my dad a lot. So,
well, yeah, you're neither goth nor a girl, so... I mean, you're alt, so it's something. But
you don't think I'm goth?
No, you're not goth. You're
I'm fine with that. I don't.
Yeah,
care.
you're more on the E side of things. What?
Don't say that.
It's
I don't
true.
Like that.
You're closer to that anyway. I'll leave it as a generic alt, but you also wear cutesy stuff, and that's not goth.
I think that's just all. Yes, it is.
It's not goth.
Yeah, it is.
Not unless if you add a modifier like pastel goth.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Okay.
It's. I mean, again, it literally.
If you just say goth, I don't think it's.
I was telling Sam about this. I just look at things, and if they're like shiny or colorful, and I just like, or like they have like a dinosaur on them, I'll just get it and wear it. I don't.
Speaking of,
just try to look like.
I'm planning in my Amazon wish list at the moment is a pack of 1,000 temporary tattoos.
Holy shit!
That are all like. It says it's made for toddlers. But
love temporary tattoos.
It says that there's 1,000 of them. Like I saw
Can you send me a link to that?
I will. I really hope that they're not terrible.
Put them on your face.
Yes, that was the idea. That's why I got them. So I can have little dinosaurs and smiling rainbows on my face. Anyway, what were we talking about?
I have SpongeBob tattoos I can put
That's
on you.
That's not... I would... No,
here.
I'm going to pass, actually, on that.
Okay, I also have My Little Pony tattoos.
That's not much better.
I have Hello
it's
Kitty
a little bit.
tattoos.
There you go. Now you hit the mark. There we go.
I thought that you'd want SpongeBob tattoos.
No.
They're
See, the problem with SpongeBob is that it actually is a fucking hilarious show. But... I don't like the aesthetic at all.
No.
Like, it's not even like a gross aesthetic like so many of the older shows were. Like Ren and Stimpy kind of horrible aesthetics. But just like, it's just not an aesthetic that I want to respect, you know? Like, I don't want to... I don't know what it is about it. It's just like... I can't articulate it. I can't articulate why I don't like SpongeBob's aesthetic.
I feel the exact same way. And I also can't articulate it.
Yeah. Like, I don't want to see any of the characters anywhere. I do want to reference it all the time. Like, there are some good memes, right? But just, like... Yeah.
It makes me... Okay, It reminds me of this show called Mr. Pickles. Have you seen it?
Mm-mm.
It's an Adult Swim show. And literally, it's funny, kind of, but I literally can't watch it because they make the characters look ungodly just heinous. They're so disgusting. I don't want to look at it.
Yeah, no, that is how I felt about a lot of those older shows. I mean, even like Hey Arnold. I couldn't watch Hey Arnold. No, not Hey Arnold. Oh gosh, what's the other one?
I'm thinking of Courage or Chowder.
No, it was with the kid that has like his head is football shaped.
That's Hey Arnold.
Oh, okay. Then I was getting mixed up with Arthur. I always have those two mixed up. Yeah, no, Hey Arnold. Yeah, no, that's so. Yeah, I couldn't handle their weird heads of all the characters. I just couldn't do it.
Them.
I
think they're
that's
cool.
Valid. I could not. Anyway, that is not why I don't like SpongeBob's aesthetic. It's not the same kind of disgust. It's just like more of like it's not because of this, but it is the same kind of feeling as like. I don't want to see just corporate feeling things in places. And it's not corporate feeling, but it's the same kind of like, because of its association with something else, I don't want to watch it. This is really exhausting.
Yeah.
We can talk about Bojack Horseman instead.
Yes, actually the next part is I was really looking forward to talking about it.
Sorry.
No, it's fine. So, while I think it's when Bojack and Diane are talking, or maybe later on, I don't know, but all of a sudden there's another news broadcast about Bojack. I guess they're calling out Bojack again, talking about him more. And this whole time, like, I don't know, the bit is funny, so it's like pretty distracting. So I didn't notice all of these enough before, but at the very bottom of the screen there's all like these things going off on the banner. They're like really small.
Yeah,
I wrote down the funniest ones. They're like news headlines, I guess, for later. So we have amnesty to millionaires.
Why?
AIDS is still a thing.
Good. Cool.
They discovered water on the ocean floor.
Stupid.
The best part is there's like, it says, "Happy birthday, Enid Smith, America's oldest woman," and then like explanation point, and then it flashes to Bojack for like maybe 3 seconds, goes back, and then it says, "Condolences to the family of Enid Smith, America's oldest woman," explanation point. Oh, and there was another part where I think in the middle of it just says, "I wanted to write novels, you know."
Oh, that's great. Oh, I really like that one.
That was pretty good.
That's excellent. Yeah, thank you for pointing those out. I totally forgot to pay attention to that, but it's
okay.
It's such a common, great bit and things to do that. Love that trope. Okay, so Princess Carolyn calls him and says that for, the sake of his reputation and stuff, he has to apologize. And she says not to be stubborn, and he says that he is proud, not stubborn, and that the distinction is important. And I think that's interesting, and I guess we'll have to hold on to that as we go forward, too.
Yeah. I will say, though, I do think he's stubborn.
That, too, yeah. Yeah.
Also, you skipped the Jellicle song.
You just said it, didn't you? Or I guess I expected
this
you
is
to.
Another. This
You're
is
right.
another
You're right.
one.
I'm sorry.
Okay,
Do you want to sing it?
You sing.
I sing?
Yes. Yeah.
Jellicle cats.
We can sing together.
I don't remember any of the lyrics except for Jellicle.
Jellicles up and Jellicles down.
Yeah, there you go. I can't remember lyrics. That's a deficiency of mine. So, yeah. It's literally part of my disability why I can't remember lyrics. So, kind of fucked up of you to just request me to start singing on air randomly.
After their talk on the phone, basically Bojack leaves off on just, I can't remember if he agreed to apologize or if he said no. Do you remember?
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
Okay.
Because he knows that he needs to. He just hates it.
In the meantime, they're like broadcasting some interviews on the TV, and like a bunch of them are just talking about him being fat.
Yeah.
The one girl who had sex with him says something pretty funny.
Yeah.
She's just like, after we had sex, he covered himself in sheets like an Arab. Yeah.
Well, I should say at some point, yeah, he does have that the interview, and that's when he says that some of the troops are jerks, and then the like whole like there's like a record scratch basically as they're like, "You think the troops are jerks?" And he's like, "Oh, you took that the bad way. Okay." It's just fucking hilarious. He's like, he just gives up immediately. They're like, they're not gonna listen.
And,
you can't.
Yeah, I mean, they wouldn't have, and they cut out everything else he said, and they just kept showing the troops are jerks part. And I mean, he was saying some pretty base stuff.
I mean, at that time, it was just like, I think he was just whining at the time. He says the base stuff later, but he was just like, you're not automatically a hero. Some of the troops are jerks, basically.
Yeah, if you give a jerk a gun, it doesn't make him not a jerk.
Yeah. And which is like, yeah, but also it's like, I don't know.
He's not doing it selflessly. Like it's
he just doesn't like this guy.
Exactly.
I don't know. It's funny because later he's like, he basically says like, I don't hate this guy, the seal. He's not even really like a jerk. I just like, he just can't let it go, basically.
Oh, you know what? So we won't be able to talk about this for a while, so I wanted to open it up as a discussion question, but I was thinking on this a lot, and I did some research, and I figured something out about this whole thing.
Okay.
And I'm wondering if our listeners can also figure it out without cheating. We cannot look it up.
Okay.
If you've seen the whole show, you should be able to figure out why he feels so passionately. I don't know why he just has so much distaste for this man and for the troops.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's a really interesting reason, and I'm super curious if anyone else has figured it out.
Okay.
So if you know, then you can email us or just put it in wherever. We'll
we'll mention it at the end.
Stuff, yeah.
I want to do a normal discussion question in addition to that. But yes, I'm going to hypothesize that it's because his father was in a war. That's my hypothesis. It's a guess. I don't know. Okay, let's move forward. Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah. Eventually they do go to Mr. Peanut Butter's house, who has a reality show. I do want to point out, I fucking love the joke. You know, they're constantly filming, because it's a reality show, and, Mr. Peanut Butter said it's because you never know when gold's gonna strike. And Bojack says, gold doesn't strike. And Mr. Peanut Butter says, that's why you never know! It's so fucking funny to me.
I didn't even, notice that.
That's my favorite dumb joke of the episode.
Pretty good.
Yeah. I have it written down on paper because I wanted to remember it.
That's pretty good.
Also, I do want to... Another thing that is going on throughout the whole episode with the news is that the news cutting away from things that actually do matter. So they were about to say something about, like, the White House legislation, probably regarding, like, a war in Afghanistan or something, you know? The stuff that's actually, like, being used as a reason of why Bojack's being an asshole. Because he hates the troops. And they cut away from that to be like, there's breaking news, Bojack is leaving his house. Because, yeah, for like 3 days. 3 days, it's just like the news cycle is nothing but Bojack hates the troops. Yeah. Which is just, yeah. And so that comes up a couple times of just like no one like giving a shit about things that actually matter. Mm-hmm. And then I'll talk about it more on the final read of this.
Okay.
But they're at Mr. Peanut Butter's place, and they set up the apology. Todd leaves to save the day and go buy another box of muffins.
Now, important part about that, in the car on the way there, he gets a call from his loving girlfriend.
Yes.
She's pissed because he only has $80 in his bank account.
And she spent a lot of time to try and scam him.
A lot of time. Yeah. And then later on, whenever they need muffins to give to the Navy SEAL, he's like, guys, I have $80 in my bank account. I'll go get the muffins. If that is not the most relatable thing I have ever seen, so I don't know what is.
So there's a couple other things that are funny about that, about his whole like hijink there. One, when we first originally see him, he is wearing a suit and tie but no pants, right?
Yeah.
Which is, you know, when we first see that, I think that we get this impression that like, oh, he's just like putting on airs, you know, like he's just like, he wants to look nice for his girlfriend, right? No, apparently he was pretending to be a businessman, basically.
He was rich in Friends.
In Friends. He knows who did he say that he knows? Something Bailey was his name? Mike Bailey, something like that. I don't know. And it's not important. But he leaves to go buy the muffins. He does not succeed because his card got declined because they stole the $80 from him.
Yeah, he was apparently. Like, for some weird reason my bank account is empty. Anyways,
yeah, he comes back with a bag full of stale hamburger buns
from In-N-Out.
From In-N-Out. They're just giving it away. Why does anyone pay for anything? Smoking like a true anarchist. I'm kidding. But they start having the apology, and it's very clear, it's very forced and non-genuine, etc. But Bojack starts his apology and says that the guy's a hero, and then just goes on, just like not handing over the stale hamburger buns, but just like sarcastically, or just like he's basically says, "I don't believe," and then says about
what he believes.
Yeah, says what he believes about how that just calling anyone a hero cheapens the word and is disrespectful for people who are actually heroes.
He says the troops are all heroes. Every single one.
Yeah.
Every single one.
And then goes on to talk about how like he thinks it's kind of gross of how there's like a forced celebration of the military under any and all circumstances and all these things. Anyway, he says a lot of stuff that's pretty based is where I'm trying to get to.
Yeah. And he's so rudely interrupted.
Yes, because Mr. Peanut Butter gets a bucket stuck on his head. And they're like, who gave him a bucket? Actually, it's the Navy SEAL who says that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Who gave him a bucket? Funny. Which is just like, why is that? Is there like a rule, don't give Mr. Peanut Butter a bucket? What?
No, because then he'll get it stuck on his head. This is a dog being a dog, I guess.
Yeah.
I always find it really funny. I feel like they do that a lot with Mr. Peanut Butter.
Yeah.
I think there's one scene at one point where Diane is like trying to comfort him and she's like, you're such a good boy. Yes, you are. Yes, you are. And it's like in a really serious conversation.
Yeah. I mean, hey, that kind of talk is safe for serious conversations for me.
Don't even start. Don't.
But okay, so actually I do have a question. And I don't know the answer. I keep flipping back and forth in my head. Do you think Mr. Peanut Butter did that on purpose? Got the bucket stuck on his head? Like, he was like, people aren't paying enough attention to me, and I'm going to steal the moment away from Bojack.
I don't think that, considering his character, I don't feel like he would need to do that. I feel like he is dumb enough to get his head stuck in a bucket.
That's true. I guess you're right.
I don't think he's like schemy enough to do that.
If he did want to get attention, he would just walk on the screen and be like, hey, everyone pay attention to me. Rather than, get his head
exactly. Yeah, he would just literally go get attention rather than,
force it. You're right. I think you're right. Or even just like walk onto the screen and be like, ooh, what's this bucket? And then put it on his head. So that's like the final beat, I think, of just like important things being thrown away in favor of looking at the dumb, silly shit. So like, this whole controversy, rather than paying attention to the actual war in Afghanistan or whatever. And it's also related to Bojack running away from having serious conversations, right? I mean, he does the exact same thing. He's supposed to start talking about childhood, and he runs away to have this stupid controversy.
This whole episode is just him procrastinating his book.
That's true.
The whole thing. Like, he would not... Why would he have gone through all this? Like, I think at one point, like, he literally said, I would love to get into all this stuff with you, but I just can't get my mind off of all this, like, muffin stuff or whatever, however he worded it. And he uses it to get out. So, I think the whole thing is just, him getting out of writing his book.
Yeah. Which
was just damaging to his career. Yeah. Also, like...
yeah. Well... his career, whatever's left of it, I guess. Which then we get to our final scene where sort of he's done enough of the apology that the whole situation's wrapped up and over. Everyone's paying attention to Mr. Peanut Butter with a bucket on his head. And so he goes on the roof with Diane. And he says, you know what the problem with everyone is? They all just want to hear what they already believe. No one wants to hear the truth. And Diane says that she wants the truth, but is Bojack ready to tell it?
Yeah. I think that this whole scene is really endearing, and I like that. I don't know, I feel like in the whole episode, we don't see much of Diane. We see just a lot of him just not getting along with anyone. It's honestly portrayed like it's the world against him.
Yeah, he says at some point everyone's out to get him. Yeah.
Yeah, he does. And then, it almost feels like as soon as he sits next to Diane on the roof, like everything is just really calm, and she just kind of very quickly just gets to him, and he's just like, okay, yeah, like she gets through to him, and he agrees to try. And I feel like he really means that whenever he says that. And then he says, you're not going to make me look like an asshole, right? And she says, I don't know. Are you an asshole? And that's kind of where it's left off.
Yeah, what's interesting about that, she says it in a joking way, basically. And he just stares for a moment before...
Yeah, he didn't answer.
Moving on. Yeah. Yeah, it's... Yeah, poignant, obviously. It's that, like, he's really, really not sure. Or maybe he kind of
Maybe he'll find out through the book.
Yeah. And then he starts, talking about his actual childhood and stuff, and we fade out from that. So what do you think of the statement there? The problem with everyone is that they all want to hear what they already believe. No one wants to hear the truth.
I think that I mean, obviously that statement is really true. It's the path of least resistance, I guess. I think it's very applicable to politics, obviously. Like, that's why, like, a lot of politicians will go for for all the people that haven't really chosen a party yet. Because the other ones, it doesn't really matter what they say. Like, they're just they're gonna vote for their party. Yeah. So, yeah, I don't know. I think that was really good. And yeah, I definitely wrote it down because, I don't know, I feel like I think about that a lot.
Yeah. It's interesting that he says, like, what they already believe, which is interesting. I think the statement of no one wants to hear the truth is like something that holds true the entire episode, absolutely. But they want to hear what they already believe. I think it doesn't match up in the exact same way over all of those times where the serious stuff is thrown away in favor of a dumb thing that does not matter, which is they are all trying to get away from the truth, but like they don't pay attention to Mr. Peanut Butter with a bucket on his head just because it's what they already believe.
Yeah.
Like, they pay attention to it because it's a silly, stupid thing that has no stakes, I guess.
It's true. Yeah.
Which is basically what his show was, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Horsing around.
Yeah.
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 So that's interesting. Okay, that's the episode, though. Mm-hmm. Yeah. This is more to discussion than we initially thought that we would have when we talked about this episode. That's what I was saying.
Like, I was writing my notes and I was like, oh, wow, okay. Like, I'm glad that we took the time, didn't combine it with any other ones. And I am really excited to discuss all the conversation that was going on after our first episode. I think
we can
some interesting
get into that.
things.
I do want to point out that this is happening in Doof Media fashion. We're going to get to an episode of this show and we're going to talk about it for 3 hours. Like, it's going to happen. It's going to be horrible, but we're going to get there.
I think with some of them, we're just going to have to do like 2-parters.
Oh God, 2-parters over a 20-minute show.
Look, if we were able to make this one over an hour long, like the ones that are actually plot driven or like later in this series, like, there are some that I feel like I could literally talk about for like 12 hours.
Okay.
I'm not going to.
I don't know
but I want to.
Our listeners are, if that excites them or scares them, but we'll see. You guys let us know how much you want 12-hour episodes. We don't. We don't do 12-hour episodes. I will say though, I do have an episode of Decomposing Worm where it literally took 5 hours to record. So
that's not that long, honestly. Have you ever? What's
Sebastian?
That one? Well, okay. What is that one podcast? Well, considering how much literature it is, like it's not that crazy. But what's that one Dungeons and Dragons podcast that everyone listens to?
The Adventure Zone or Critical Role?
Oh shit. I forgot those weren't the same thing. Critical Role.
Yeah, probably
Critical
that
Role
one.
Episodes are so fucking long. And they release a lot of them. And they're so long.
That's
and
true.
People listen to them, which is awesome. But yeah, no, I do not plan on talking about Bojack for 12 hours. Maybe I'll do a live stream, like marathon thing. I'll stay up for 24 hours.
We will have over 100 hours of this podcast by the time we're done.
Oh,
it's kind of
yeah,
wild.
For sure.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. But great. Okay, let's talk about what the listeners said, because we got interaction on the post on the Bojack Horseman subreddit. We got interaction on the Discord, where a lot of people were talking about the show when we announced it, and then we also got some comments on the YouTube video, I think, right?
Yeah. Well, so the comment on you, we got a couple of comments, but the one that I guess would be relevant is that somebody actually did point out. They were like, well, we know Bojack is a bottom because of this, and they quoted that, and I didn't realize that was going to be in this episode.
I didn't realize it was going to be so fast.
Yeah. I think their name was Adolf Diddler, so
okay.
Credit to that.
Thanks.
Yeah. I think, honestly, okay, so my favorite thing, like, I think I woke up at pretty early in the morning and looked on Discord and saw this, and I was like, whoa, what? And I like got excited about it and was researching a little bit. But so in the first episode, we talked a lot about well, not a lot, but we talked a bit about Charlie Rose and everything that happened with him. And I guess we discussed that, you know, they were trying to portray Bojack comparatively with Charlie Rose because Charlie Rose is terrible and was accused of all these things, blah, blah, blah. Apparently, those allegations didn't even come out until like over 3 years after this episode aired.
Okay.
So that's really interesting. And then somebody brought up a good point about how...
But make sure it's not spoilers for me.
No, it's not.
Okay.
Charlie Rose is not a spoiler. I don't think he comes back. But I mean, maybe I don't remember. But somebody in the Discord brought up the fact that like this show was like made by people who work in Hollywood, and they are closer, like in that network of people, and it's just like, you know, you can kind of just tell and sense whenever these things are going on. So I think Bojack may have predicted this, or maybe that wasn't their intention. I don't know.
Do you know who the user was that said that?
It might have. No.
I'll find it. Give me a second.
Yeah, I know that. I think that it was Wild
Nihil Supernum, actually, that mentioned the first thing. And then Wild Bow was the one talking about the in-industry stuff that people often, that information gets out, or at least the rumors get out. He gave examples that Family Guy did the same sort of thing with Bill Cosby.
Yeah. It's really interesting. I think that I would be really interested in asking them about that too. Because, I mean, maybe they didn't even intend to imply those things, I guess. But I don't know. I honestly don't know on this one. But I thought it was pretty interesting.
I mean, I don't think the episode specifically has stuff implying that he's sexually assaulted people.
No, I think that they were trying to use him comparatively, so I'm just wondering what factors of him they were trying to use.
Yeah, could be.
Another thing that was brought to our attention was also by Wild Bow, who was talking about how they use a lot of flashbacks in the episodes. And I feel like this was... So I think we talked in the first episode a lot about how they jump really, really quickly from being devastatingly sad to being super funny. Like, it could go... Like, they'll just say some super out-of-pocket thing during, like, a really, really sad scene. And I'm always wondering how they're able to make that work without messing up the rhythm. And I feel like that may be why they use a flashback format. I feel like that is a really helpful tool. Maybe not the only tool, but after thinking about that and watching it, I feel like that may be a factor.
Yeah. We'll have to keep an eye on that. And I don't know how we feel about the flashbacks in general as they're used. Did you have anything else you wanted to bring out?
We had a lot of discussion, but I think most of it would, in some way or another, have spoilers.
Yeah, so a good amount of them do have spoilers.
But I will I'm saving them, so we can talk about them whenever.
Well, yeah, actually, to go through, so there was a discussion question of what's your impression of Bojack Horseman, the show and the character? What connection do you have with the show? So I wanted to go through. I think a couple of people did answer at least a bit. Seaburn, at least I think that's how you pronounce that username, says that the show to them is about the cycle of trauma. Every character suffers from their own version of it. And the show, what it does well is peel back the layers and layers so you gradually understand why Bojack is the way that he is. And that all the other characters like Todd and Princess Carolyn have their own little worlds that you can delight and despair in. You can maybe relate to one character more than the others, but I personally see pieces of myself in all of them. And then they talked about some other stuff that is spoilers, about like some stuff that the show does that is cool. But they say that they find at least 2 times a year to watch the show, basically.
I feel like the piece about just, I guess, seeing bits of yourselves in all the characters, definitely thought about that before. And I really like that aspect of the show. I think that a lot of people have one that they connect to the most. but they kind of have just extreme versions of a lot of different personalities, but each one has something that is really almost uncomfortably familiar.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think that's one of the strongest factors of the show, to be completely honest.
Yeah. Outrageous Gamer says that when they first started watching, they believed that Bojack would be better and do better after each season. But they also say how he falls back into like the same pattern sometimes and doesn't view life like real life. He thinks everything can be solved in a sitcom manner, but by doing so, he makes everything worse. And he thinks the jokes are funny and he cares, or they say that they think the jokes are funny and they care a lot about the characters.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, I would agree with all of that for sure.
Yeah, so if you want to be like all these wonderful people that discussed the show and our show, you can join us on those channels. You can join the Discord, which is found at doofmedia.com/Discord. Or you can send us an email at halfwaydowncast@gmail.com. You could tweet at us at VHDcast, and you can also follow us there to get on all the notifications about the show. You can leave comments on the YouTube, wherever else, and of course on the thread that we post both on the Doof Media subreddit and the Bojack Horseman subreddit. Going forward, so I know that like most subreddits don't like getting a lot of self-promotion, and we're not trying to have self-promotion. We're trying to like just get discussion. So I think going forward, I'm just going to be posting the discussion question and just like, you know, mentioning that it comes from the show and that we'll be talking about it on here. And hopefully we get some more engagement that way. Because you guys have some really cool things to say and a lot of observations and stuff that we will, literally it's impossible for us to cover every angle. And so it's nice to have, people mention stuff.
Yeah, it is really helpful. We got, a lot more feedback than I expected, a lot more viewers than I expected actually. But yeah, it was all just super interesting. It exceeded my expectations. And I was really happy with it, and I would love to see more conversation.
Okay, so let's. I want to give the discussion question, which I did not write down. And then, what's the other thing that you want people to answer? The riddle you want them to solve?
I really, 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 again, no, you can't just look it up, okay? Because I'm sure that you'd be able to find something about it somewhere. I want to know if you guys have any theories on why Bojack was so instantly turned off by this Navy SEAL. Why he's so adamantly against the troops. I would like to know.
Well, I think his major thing is just like he doesn't. Not that he just dislikes them inherently, but the forced celebration, I think, is in the forced honoring of them all, right? That's the vibe I got, rather than him just like blanket not liking them.
I mean, yeah, he does feel that way. I guess it's like a plot-centered thing, I suppose.
Okay. So leave that in spoiler brackets for me because it sounds like it's usually show stuff.
It out. Yeah.
But okay, the discussion question, and so please come on to our various channels to talk about it, is I want to refer to that first thing he says at the beginning of the episode about if someone is a horrible person, them not understanding that they're a horrible person doesn't make them less of a horrible person. Do you agree with that? Do you disagree with that? How would you modulate that and qualify it? I think that's probably a good place to jump off of, right?
Yeah, that's a fantastic question too. I definitely wanted to talk about that more, so I'm glad that and we needed to tell them about our other episode that we just recorded.
Yeah,
right?
So talking about Doof Media stuff, I did want to real quick mention that Kingslingers just covered Stephen King's book and so if you haven't listened to Kingslingers and you want to just jump on to, that's a podcast covering basically all of Stephen King's stuff as it relates to the Dark Tower series of his. check them out because that's a standalone, and so I'm pretty sure you can listen to it without too many spoilers. But us on the other show that I do the right thing, which is about writing and stuff, Sebastian guested for an episode, and we had a really, really great time. You said you listened to it again?
Yeah, I listened to it. So I hadn't listened to it yet because we recorded for like 3 hours. It's not a 3-hour long podcast, but I didn't know what was going to be in it and I couldn't remember. And I listened to it while I was at work today. And it was really hard for me not to like laugh at my desk. And it was, I honestly thought about turning it off a few times. I was like, no, I have to listen to this some other time. I was like, I don't have time to do that. So I listened to it at work.
That's funny.
Yeah, it was pretty good.
It was a great, not that we make a habit of listening to our own episodes, but it was just a really great time. And we joked around a lot. It is a lot more immature of kind of humor.
Because I was on there.
No, you should listen to some of our other episodes. I mean, maybe we talked about cum a little bit more than we normally do.
Because of me?
Yes.
Thanks.
Well, what didn't make it into the episode is because one of the Instagram accounts that you follow is a meme account that's titled radical.com.
Yes.
And so
it's a good account. Check it out.
For 30 minutes before the show started, we talked a lot about cum. And so we joked around about that a lot. Spoilers for the episode. I really love how there's a lot of people I respect that are going to listen to this show. And they've just heard me say the word cum like 6 times.
I hope my dad doesn't listen to this.
I hope he does and see what kind of company you're keeping.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Company?
Shut up. Terrible. That's all we have for you. Please, go check us out in our various places. Follow us on Twitter. Send us your questions and such and respond to the discussion question. Listen to that Do the Right Thing episode. And tell your friends.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I think that might bring us to our fun animal fact of the day. Today's fun animal fact is that turtles cause more fatalities per year than sharks.
Ninja Turtles?
Yeah. These muffins smell so good, and it's really
I'm hungry.
Not
I haven't. Well,
you want some muffin?
Yes.
Here, take a bite. Eat it. That was so loud.
I love spit on the microphone.
Yeah, lucky microphone.
He's disgusting. I'm gonna keep that. You know what?
No.
That's what's going on at the end of the podcast. Yeah.
Don't.